Welcome to another episode of Not for the Weak Minded. So I was watching Campbell from Didactic channel today, and he was showing some maps and some interesting things he found about this island called Friesland. Now I've seen other people's research about missing islands, and Friesland was on that list, which I saw. So I knew about Friesland before, but how it's no longer there. So we're gonna talk about Friesland. However, I'm not gonna put his content on. I will leave the link in the description, and he shows you where he gets all his stuff from as well. So it's a good channel. Brings new information from different places. So anyway, we're gonna go to this guy's website, David Rumsey's map collection. And again, I'll leave it in the link. And on this site, there's a database of over 98,000 maps and images. Collection from 16th to 21st century maps of all over the world. I won't click on it because it takes ages to load this site, but there's all different categories of different maps. And the things you can see on these things, well, if you can decode history right, and you've got the money already to go out and find the locations you're looking at, you could find a great deal of things. There's so much out there to be found. During the time of the giants particularly, so much destruction of that civilization. So anyway, on this site there's this map, and this map is from 1587 by a guy called, I can't remember his name, Monte. It's spelled Monte. The information is on this website, and all you got to do is this one here, look, Monte's 10-foot planisphere made of 60 sheets, 1587. So part of my problem with my map, and we'll talk about my map in a minute, is it's not metric. So if I wanted it to be in metric, I would have to have a huge piece of paper, or scale it down. But still, it'll be a big piece of paper just to do half. So I don't fancy doing that, quite frankly. But anyway, this map here, as it said, from the 1600s, 1587 map. And we're going to look at this map in detail shortly. But what I want to bring up now is my maps. Now this is Antarctica, mapped in the south. If it was a globe, this would be what it would look like from the south, if south it really did look like this and existed as this does. And there you go. Do you see Australia is now, for those people moaning, look how it is. It's exactly how the shape it should be. Now the reason why it's not on mine is because it's been stretched, right? These are longer here than they are down here. But the same applies on this map. They're longer up here. This is why this is stretched than they are down here. So there's within cartography, there's always compromises, and so there's obviously many renditions, if you look through that website, of all different types of maps and attempts to map the Earth using like the globe, using a flat map. But this goes through a lot of time really, because a lot of this stuff is based upon older sources of information that, you know, they've been hiding and keeping for themselves, hidden behind closed doors. That literally show a different side of history completely. So let's go back to this. So that's that mapped with the south going to the centre, and Australia looking like as it should be, right? So it's a mixture of, well, in my opinion, of mapping it this way, using this model here, but then somehow inverting it back. Excuse me. Because this is the Gleason model. Look. It's a perfect match. And yet I used NASA's GPS to create this. So I think NASA have been used the Gleason model to create the globe Earth model, right? Does that make sense? Because my model, I literally used the perfect circle, that method, to divide the Earth, to create the globe Earth model, then the GPS to map it, yeah, and the globe Earth is round, right? So anyway, when we go back to looking at ancient history and older maps and stuff, it gives you a complete different perception of reality of the past, and you know, and how different it really is compared to what we've really been told. So anyway, a lot of ancient cultures believed in the flat earth or the created earth, the domed earth, however you want to say it, including the people that, you know, hide the secrets, hidden in plain sight. Checkerboard floor, black and white tiles. This map. Again, other things. So going back to my map now, if you imagine this type of flow process for one here, and somehow that involves the movement of at least the sun and moon, and then there's inner workings in this part that move the Venus and Mercury, and then there's the sun and the moon, and then you go out and there's others. Regarding the, you know, I've got to obviously show you this, like maps like this, but with astronomy related information. So essentially this is my effort using NASA's GPS, and it came out like that. It came out like the Gleason model. Don't you find that interesting? And that's the only reason it's stretched. And again, you've probably seen this 100 times already if you're familiar with the flat earth debate. But you know, each one of them's different, and if you look into different space agencies, each one of them is different as well. You know, and when you look at the first image taken from low Earth orbit, you'll see that they used the circular window and captured it far off, and they were nowhere near the moon. The moon is not really an object to be landed upon. And there we go, there's the argument really. Neil deGrasse Tyson says it's a spheroid oblate. Neil deGrasse Tyson says it's a pear-shaped sphere, spheroid. weird. And NASA use the perfect circle, right? And that's because the window that they shot from was perfectly spherical to take the shot from low Earth orbit. And ever since then, it's all a hoax. Deliberate hoax. For a reason. And that reason is very sinister indeed. All these organisations, United Nations, the International Maritime Organization, the World Meteorological Organization, and International Civil Aviation Organization, right? They all use the flat Earth logos. And, well, they're public enemy number one in my mind. Their doctrine being introduced into our country, like, LGBT being taught to 3-year-olds, and all the other stuff that they've planned over the last 50 years, including this latest pandemic. Everyone's under maritime law. Everyone is under maritime law. Global geoengineering is caused because they've mapped the Earth using the perfect circle, i.e. the Gleason model, right? And now programs, i.e. artificial intelligence, can actually control the weather modification of the Earth. That's what they want. They want full control, but through emulation of what we would call nature, which is actually creationism. But it's hard, very complex to understand. Very. Because this involves mechanisms of the inner Earth and time and a lot of water, obviously, and size differences in the past. Giants once walking the Earth, etc. Titans. So this here might be in a field for the sun and sun, and then there could be another one, within the inner bit, and then there could be another one on the outside, so to speak. There's 3 parts, perhaps. I have to show you other blueprints to try and, the sacred geometry blueprints, to try and meld this together. Anyway, it's interesting. Again, the Gleason model, and this one here that I created using, well, I'll show you what I did. I went to Google Maps. Now here we go. This is as far as I can zoom out, right, on Google Maps. Let's just take Greenland, for example. What I did was I zoomed in and I'd put it there. And I'd take the coordinates and I'd map it into where it was, that coordinate position. And I'd go around the coast, so I'd take this position, that position, this position, this one, and I created the coastlines, right, using this mod. And I used this, right. Now if you've looked into the model making, this is the Mercator model, where it makes Greenland look humongous, right, in comparative to these 2 countries. Look at it. Look how much of the screen it takes. I cannot. This is meant to be the flat map. Look, I'll show you. There's Antarctica. We talk about other things to do with Antarctica and how we should really know it's the other way, this way. Sorry, this way, because of maps like this. It might not be perfectly accurate, but it depicts something very detailed, highly detailed map, which we are going to get into, particularly when when I'm trying to show you stretch the photo this way. The size of Greenland, look, in comparison, it's humongous. So anyway, we got Iceland, Greenland, Svalbard, I can't remember what this island was called. That's white. Zimala. There's other little islands around here. And there's others. So there's a couple up the top here. October Revolution Island. That is an unusual name. Is that a hint to work for the elites to go here? What do you think? October Revolution Island. For the Russians, maybe? They've built something in secret. Hidden on this island. Something to consider, perhaps, considering it's oddly named. And that looks like a vagina. Body parts. Anyway, I'm going sidetracked. But essentially, this one here, if you went and looked at the history of maps, is the Mercator model, and yet I used this model with these coordinate positions and their method using the perfect circle, and it come out like that, right? Which is actually exactly the same as the Gleason model, right? So where's the truth there, right? This entire thing, and yet when you go to Google Earth, you see that the comparison has changed again, look, right? And yet, these, I checked it earlier, these points are, what you can check like down on the bottom of the screen down here, are identical in, right? If I had put that point as I was showing you down there to there, etc., are identical to this one. But yet you see how that the size comparison is just completely out. So there's the mystery, right? I took the numbers from here. I didn't take it from the Globe Earth model. And yet I've tested it earlier, and these numbers are exactly the same as this one. So the Globe Earth model is essentially the Mercator model, because we can go here, right, and we can make it into a map world, and you see the size comparison difference already, look, when you turn it into the globe. So we know that the Mercator model stretches the image to make it look bigger than what it is by flattening, let's call it. Yeah, more map. Let's go back. See what I'm saying? And stuff you can see from 1930 in comparison to about 1982 to 84. There must have been another surge of water from somewhere, because it just completely all this visual information you can see here and here and here. It's going to play a part in what I'm trying to show you. You know, in Greenland, this could be this many islands in one here, and this one here, as well as these islands here. Because when you start looking at this map, you see it slightly differently. And as I said, this was created in 1587. But there's Friesland, right? Now if you look at Friesland, look at the shape of it. That is very similar to the top of Iceland and what it looks like today. So we go to Google Maps. Do you see what I'm saying? We also see that it looks like it could have been much bigger. So it looked like, from this map, if Friesland is Ireland, that there must have been more land here at one point. And you see all these stones, stone circle it looks like, and all these stones that come down here. And then it's straight into Ireland. Now that looks like a good place to find Purgatoria. I mean, you can look at these maps for hours and hours. It's all built out. It's all got towns in it. Looks like they're all connected via canals. Scotia and the Hebrides. But yeah, Friesland, you know, there is no Friesland anymore. And yet we have got remnants over here, which is the Faroe Islands. And again, like, I'd love to go down further. I can't grab the page. Okay. And show you that there is a lot to see. But mainly, you can see that this is some kind of platform here. The island must have been bigger at one point. So is that Hitlandia? Oh, right. Or is this one over here? This place? This raised area? Hitlandia? There is a secret island. And I'll show you if I remember. Called San Jose. And it's here anyway. San Mayan. Couldn't see this on Google Maps, Google Earth. I'll show you in a sec. Look at that. Supermarket. I mean, who put these names? Look, and they're just labeling this supermarket. It's random as hell. Right? I mean, I'm sure there's a hell of a lot to see in this region. We'll have a quick look. I mean, what's this? Looks like tree roots. You know? or like vines or something. I'm getting distracted again. It's not well intentionally while I was here. I thought maybe there might be something that needs to be seen. So I'll do it now. I mean, is that me or does that look like a doorway there? 100%. Looks like a doorway of some kind. I can't zoom in anymore. And you got this right next to it. Who knows? I mean, there's so much to see when you look carefully at the landscape. Like I said, it's just as bad as the maps. You can be here for hours, particularly when you're trying to compare the two. But anyway, when you go to here on this one, I mean, it's just got an airport, right? But look, from 1930, 2016, you still can't see it, look. Not one bit. All the way through, literally every photograph has been blanketed with this blue, you know, covering. Zoom out a bit. Right. 45. Too close again. Just like that. So yeah, between 1945 and 84. Yeah. Started to do this on this island, right? Wonder who it could be but the British or American military. Zoom out a bit more. Go back to 1935, because you see more detail underneath. So Friesland, excuse me, the Faroe Islands looks to be much bigger, and then you've got this island right here off the coast of Ireland as well, with these stones. Right. So if we go back to the map, I mean, like I said, it's odd. Don't know when this photograph was taken, but there's meant to be an airport here, right? It's just said somewhere along here. Must have built one during the war. Don't see one there. That's just a giant tree stump. Yeah, I think it odd though, don't you, that you can't look at this properly. But look at the ridgeline, look at how big this was at one point. It was attached to. And this looks like a bridge of some kind that was built. This way, like a roadway of some kind, right there. So if we go to this map again. island there. And you look over here though, there's nothing suggesting to me that it's any one of these islands. Right, over here within this map. However, it does correlate quite nicely with this one here being those stone pebbles, this place getting hit massively, creating that island that we see today, which is now secret. Let's look at phallus. And we didn't even look at over the top of Scotland, but I'm sure this will be here. This is Iceland. Or there, Brazil. Now there is a lot of content out there about an island that disappeared called High Brazil, and it was rumoured to be off the coast of Ireland. Look, and there it is, Brazil. So there was an island there, but it's this on this map here, comparatively to this one. Let's have a look. It's a pretty big island, I'd say, this bit. So let's go back to Google Earth. I mean, I would say that it's got to be this one, surely. Perhaps. Go away. But you know, see what I mean? And this one here looks like it's been smashed. Completely smashed. By something. Just overrun it. Took whatever it could with it down here. It's just went down here. Perhaps just ended up crumbling. What's this say? Sperm whale. There you go. More probably truth hidden in plain sight. This thing's probably huge though. Can't really see it. Oh, now you can. There you go. Oddly named sperm whale, but it turns out that this Newfoundland basin is more likely a complex underground in the water. You see these straight lines like that, like a terrace in. That looks like a face in the mud there. Look, so we can tilt it down. See that? Face in the mud. Alien head. Black eye, two black eyes. A nose and a mouth. This just looks like a huge building. There's a definite platform with a river outlet going through it and everything. So So there's a lot here. There's a lot they've hit on. So what I'm trying to say is that, sorry, I'm very quiet, is Iceland actually Friesland? And if so, here's Ireland, right? This is Terra Verde over here, Greenland. Right, Terra Verde. So in the 1587, this island here, which is now Greenland, is actually covered up, and I believe, you know, either this has been completely destroyed or it's still there and has been covered up with ice, so you can't see it. And again, these islands may have disappeared, but it's certainly not as big as what they say on here, right? You know, if I flatten it out, go 2D. Okay. And again, boom. You just see how big it is. See how much, look, how big it is in this. How big it used to be. You go along, and it's just all the way along there. And this looks like, and it goes across there. All this. That there looks like a large ship. Again. This looks like a harbour at one point for a large ship. Never left. And again, all this land, look, all this land. Just the chock of it is just ridiculous. How much they've hid on these people from us. Again, the only time we could ever know the truth is today. So I will leave a link in the description so you can, again, like I said, it could take hours to look at these things. So you can look at your own time, in your own time. But I think there's a lot of relevancy to looking at old maps. Look, Virago, Spiral. Are they one of the events of creation? I wonder. One on the Arctic Circle. And there's the center of the Earth. As I keep saying, we can talk for hours about what's been hidden. Does this still have relevancy to what we see on the Globe Earth model? I think it does. I mean, there's Greenland. And this looks like an inlet. It's the sea. Of the North Chiacato. But yeah, and it's just when you start looking at this map thoroughly, you'll see the extent of civilization and how it's been mapped in within it. To give it some kind of credibility, it's not been made out of thin air. And they got two suns represented on this, one there, one there. So we go over to Britain. Here and here. One in the north, one in the south. I know that's a representation of the summer solstice and the winter solstice path, which is the most extreme in both cases. But is there two different types of sun? You know, that get closer to the equator and come back out instead, rather than one, as I've done in my blueprint. This one, where the one sun oscillates between 23.5 and 23.5. Is there a case where this one goes around just like that, and another one just goes around like that, but at different times to each other? So one's up here and one's down there. It's just a hypothesis, right? Anyway, it's a beautiful attempt to map the Earth. And if we look at this one more carefully, I have started to map the unseen, the bits we can see within Google, like this. So let's go to south there, like that. This obvious dark shelf. In fact, it's even clearer when you use the 1930s image. Mapping these things in. Look at that. Probably building, a wall, more buildings. This has all been destroyed though. Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, look, there's an island. Bouvet Island. See, we've got images of this beast. You see that? I mean, this is how they do it. They just stitch images together, but it's not really reality. And then you zoom in, and you come into reality. Look at this shit. Look at this place. It's foggy as hell. And demons in the sky. It's got better years. Well, it's an island in the middle of nowhere. Good place to put your booty. But if you look carefully, it's actually part of this ridge line right there. Inside it, you know, there's building work. Let's go back. No, let's zoom out again. '70s, no, or 1930s. Cute. Yeah, look, it's all built out, stepped. This looks like a river channel with things being built on the other side of it, homes and stuff. Could have been a sewage outlet. I mean, you know, look at it. People were definitely living here at one point. Alright, just a small example of what you can see if you look carefully. Anyway, this feature we can see right here. Let's take it. You can get a better one than that. There. So it looks like. Let's try and get a better one. Never mind. Anyway, here, like a giant ship, right? It comes around there, and it goes up here. This one side of it, and then the other side of it comes down like that. And then like this one goes around like that. So if we go to this map, we go down here. It's very similar to what you see, except for this one here has got a ridge going through it. The Strecchio di Magdalenus, you know, the stretch of Magdalene. Stuff I've never even heard before. But it seems to be there's a connection here to this island. Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe the shape of it is not quite right, but the representation is that there is land here at one point, very large land that's either being hidden using the globe earth model, or is no longer there because of some kind of devastating flood. And the animals on here, I mean, this one's killing a baby elephant. You know, like I said, you can spend hours and hours, right, looking at the information which is detailed within this book, within this map. All the different animals. I mean, look, that owl is covered in blood, and this whole this place here is just stained with blood. So the owl has come and devastated that one, I think. So when you realise that you don't live on a globe, the magnitude of the things that happened in the past, and then trying to understand what we live on is, and how everything works, is a crazy challenge to take. And this type of map is something that we might have to consider nearer truth than anything we've ever seen. You know, even though I know Australia is not quite right on this, and the misshapen of India, there's truth within it. You know what I'm saying? The snake that eats itself, for example, is a potential depiction of this ring. Looks like a snake eating its tail. There's the tail. There's the snake eating itself. Goes round, belly is full. Also, is there 7 realms? And if so, is the first realm here, second realm there, third realm this one, fourth realm this one, and other realms beyond, right? Potentially, because there are other maps to take into consideration, and other things. For example, the words of, what's his name, Byrd, sorry, Admiral Byrd. There's land beyond the pole, the size of America. So to think we actually know the truth about the Earth is quite laughable, really. Particularly when most people don't accept a common, really, fact that giants once walked the Earth. Right? A woman, man with breasts. You can get it to, if you're patient, it will clear up. So you can read it all. But there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of information. Another bit of information I thought might be relative, since we're here, is this one, this bit on the corner. You got the moon, the land, the sun, Mercury, Venus, and the sun. So they believe Mercury has something to do with the solstice, and the Earth is flat at the centre, and the Earth is there, you know, flat at the centre of the Earth. Just like I showed you in the last video, or the video before. And there's other things in the corners. Same one down here. Different information on. And this one is pretty much similar on the other side. But the Earth is at the centre still. That's a start. So anyway, giant tree. That's where I'm going to leave it. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that everyone out there is trying to stay as safe as possible and not panicking too much about pandemic, and more worried about, you know, the future of their child if things continue to go down this path of deceit and lies and and planned mass genocide to come. I'll just say as it is. So it's this Friesland. There's these islands that are missing. Here. This island here that's secret. Here. And what happened? Where did this water come from? I mean, you can't go further than that. This looks like some kind of water river system. And, well, how big is the giant tree at the centre of the earth? Does it not say in the scripture that its branches spread out as far and wide as the earth itself, and and that all animals lived upon it during the time of, well, giant or titans, giant things, I presume. I would say giant things, but there, you know, Book of Enoch standard, that's pretty big, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be a massive tree for us to all be living on top of it, and then to understand how, you know, the events of creation were made, and the cycles of the water, and the, you know, the inner workings of the inner earth is mind-boggling for too many people. You know, it's mind-boggling for me, and I'm not an astrophysicist to explain these things. I've got these ideas, but that's because I've looked at a lot of different information. So this map is incredibly accurate. That is a definite place I'd like to go visit. Not Purgatory, but, you know, find that in Ireland. There's loads of information, like I said, there's so much information. To think we know the past is just unbelievable. What was lost is tremendous. We're only getting the information back today, and that's a struggle, because, you know, we have controlled opposition that literally use truth with the centuries of lies to get away with even bigger deception to come, to do with aliens and the earth, you know, thinking it spins and stuff. Well, are you going to believe in alien invasion if you see it with your own eyes, so to speak? Project Bluebeam, it's, you know, and they go, oh, we all come together as a one world economic system that can fight against this common enemy, when the common enemy are the ones that are blatantly, creating that scenario to begin with. So there's a lot to talk about these things, but I'm going to leave it there. Just, an open inquiry into the past, the globe earth model itself, how it was created, how my model was created, and yet I use this model which completely distorts it when it's flat to map the earth we currently live in. So please share, like and subscribe. Till next time.